It's what we all feared. Blackbeard, the blackest of men, with hockey. It's not looking good.
You're watching Anime Sundays.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Anime Sundays, the show where we talk about anime, yes, on Sundays, and I am your host, Jared Ross. Yes, as I said, the One Piece manga is getting into its critical parts of the series. We're seeing all types of stuff being unveiled. We're seeing new abilities with the Yonko. We're seeing the new Yonko making their statements, their movements, and I think it's only right that we have the proper rankings for these new Yonko.
元クルーだったとはな。なぜバレた?
If you're not caught up on the One Piece manga, there are a lot of manga spoilers in this video, so go ahead and scroll now if you haven't read the manga. So, for these Yonko rankings, I will be actually ranking a couple other things besides their strength alone. I feel like we can all kind of figure out who is probably the strongest of the new Yonko, and those new Yonko being Buggy, Luffy, Shanks, and Blackbeard. But I also want to dive into and talk about how strong the Yonko crews are and how much of a problem these Yonkos specifically are to the world government. So I will be giving y'all 3 different rankings. So getting right into it. Starting off, at the bottom of the list, I have Buggy. Yes, we see Buggy making huge moves, getting great allies, really making his name in the new world. But obviously that doesn't equate with his strength, right? We see that he just happens to be in the right place, right time, and happens to just be getting really lucky, right? Even in the manga, he says he apologized his way to Yonko level, right? So we know that he may have gotten stronger a little bit in combatant skills, but not enough to hang with Blackbeard, Shanks, or Luffy. And number 3, and I know this is going to cause a lot of controversy, I have Blackbeard as the 3rd strongest Yonko. Now, a lot of you have seen the recent chapters. We know Blackbeard has confirmed armament. We know his bounty has went up significantly. And we know he's putting in a lot of work on Amazon Lily. Throwing Marines left and right. Amazonian warriors can barely keep in touch, right? He's got Boa Hancock by the throat. And he's even holding off some of these pacifists, right? Baby Mihawk, who is arguably Yonko level himself. But in terms of what we've seen from Luffy and Shanks, I still don't think this Blackbeard right now is beating Kaido or beating Shanks. This new Yonko level is still not quite as solidified as the old Yonko level. They may be reaching there, but I still don't think, Blackbeard is, taking down Big Mom. That, me personally. A lot of people have Blackbeard over Big Mom. I still have Big Mom over Blackbeard, just from durability alone. But we still haven't seen any conquerors, any real observation or Ryu, and he's still kind of heavily relying on his crew and his Devil Fruit, and to get more Devil Fruit powers. So until we see something that confirms he has more already besides the 2 that we know of, I still have Blackbeard weaker than a Gear 5 Luffy. Well, that brings me into who I have at the 2nd strongest Yonko. I do have Gear 5 Luffy. I know a lot of people say that Kaido was weakened, he was jumped, he defeated Luffy about 3 times, but at the end of it all, when Luffy finished Kaido with that last giant gun, it was almost like he just finally stopped playing around. He was just like, alright, I didn't want to do this, but now I'm going to punch a hole through Onigashima, and Kaido, you're done. I think we'll see a lot of similar stuff with Blackbeard when he fights Gear 5 Luffy. The trick with Gear 5 is the realm of possibilities. He's jump roping Kaido, grabbing lightning out the sky, and turning the ground into rubber. Who's to say he can't, use the dark fruit to make a black cloak around Blackbeard, tie him up, use the quake fruit and throw it at him like a basketball or a football. We see the 4D walls being breaking here with Gear 5, and I feel like if he's doing this to Kaido, who's using Conquerors and Ryu on him, he should be able to do similar things to Blackbeard. So I do think Gear 5 will take it over Blackbeard eventually. And then at number 1, yes, I do have Shanks as the strongest Yonko. We already knew that the hockey was through the roof, but now it's really confirmed when he had admirals running from fights. Alright, now that we got the Yonko rankings out the way, let's get into something that may be a little bit more of a debate. I want to talk about the Yonko crews. At the bottom of the Yonko crew list, I actually have Blackbeard. Hold on. not so fast, y'all. As I was rewatching that video, I kind of realized that I didn't mean what I meant to say, and as I thought about it, I was kind of self-contradicting myself. So let me kind of put it in a better order. At the bottom of the list, instead of having Blackbeard's crew, I actually do have the Cross Guild. Some of my old reasons for having Blackbeard's crew above the Cross Guild was because I just felt like the performance at Amazon Lily was pretty much so shitty. I felt like most of the crew was just pretty much fodder. Blackbeard was so quick to be ready to trade them or get them all turned to stone and killed and find people to replace them that quick. I just kind of felt like there was no prioritizing their strength. But after some more new chapters have come out, because that video is a little older, I do think that the Cross Guild is probably the overall weakest Yonko crew. Now, I meant to say when doing this video, I was including the captains when talking about the crew, and I was also including the fleets that are kind of attached to the crew, because I feel like that makes a huge difference in like what stature your crew has, you know, how many men you actually have ready to go to war for you. Now, automatically I hear the Mihawk fans going like, nah, impossible. If Mihawk's on the crew, can't be the weakest crew. Well, at the same time, that's really all they got. I know we want to give a lot of hype to Crocodile. You know, he's in the new world, he's with Mr. One. We assume he's got to have some type of hockey. But I still wouldn't say he is like showing me some of the impressive feats that we've seen Lucci doing. Or, you know, anybody else from the time skip who fought Luffy. And even if you do say that Crocodile is, you know, pretty much up there, he may be Zoro level since his bounty's a little higher, that's really their only hitters. Nobody else on Buggy's main crew can box, and everybody else that he picked up, you know, kind of as a fan or, you know, as a clout chaser, are pretty much all like impaled down prisoners who at the time, you know, were comparable to like some of Blackbeard's crew that escaped from those levels that they didn't really mention. These are still pre-time skip pirates we're talking about. Criminals are not. And honestly, I don't see Buggy's crew being that much more stronger or being able to just, you know, dump on Blackbeard's crew. I do feel like Blackbeard, you know, since he would be involved in this crew ranking, if it's him versus Mihawk, and cats are really trying to jump Mihawk and really get Mihawk in the ground, I do think they should be able to overcome that eventually. And then now that Blackbeard does also have Kuzan, it's pretty serious. You know, I just think overall the Cross Guild is still gonna need more firepower or more heavy hitters to definitely be stronger than Blackbeard's crew, even if they do have more numbers with their fleet. Above the Cross Guild, I do have Blackbeard's crew at third, and all for them same reasons. You know, yes, Blackbeard's got more hitters with Devil Fruits now. He's really making a movement, but again, I don't think his crew is still stronger than the Straw Hat crew. He does have Kuzan, but the rest of his crew did seem like, or at least half of his crew did seem kind of like light work against Boa Hancock. She had the Marines and Blackbeard's crew kind of on like a, ooh, if I pull this trigger, everybody's turned to stone and dead. I feel like that should have just been a easy hockey situation. It was very unimpressive to see what they were doing on Amazon Lily. Yes, Kuzan wasn't there. I don't think Burgess was there either. But besides the people I just named in Blackbeard's crew and Shiryu, who we still have seen no feats from, I don't see anyone that's really even close to Blackbeard's level besides Kuzan. So I'm going to cut back to my original take and let me finish explaining some more why I feel like Blackbeard's crew is number 3 and Luffy's is still number 2. Back to you, old Jared. At number 2, I have Luffy's crew. A lot of you may say, well, you got Luffy's crew over Cross Guild. Yes, I think Luffy's crew with his 5,600, you know, pirates ready to go. Straw Hats now with their new bounties. We've seen how they came out of Wano a lot stronger, a lot more intact with their abilities, their hockey. I think overall, you know, if you put them up against Blackbeard's crew, they're going to hold their own. I think, you know, for the most part, Zoro, Sanji, all the top 5, they're going to be able to take down most of Blackbeard's top 5. You know, when it comes to Luffy and Blackbeard, that argument obviously goes back and forth. But I think crew versus crew, the Straw Hats are ready. I think they are at the level when they can do it. Sure, Zoro could use a little bit more with Emba, but with Sanji and Ifrit, Flames and Exoskeleton durability and the raid suit, yes, I definitely think the Straw Hats top 5, or you know, even all 9 of them, can do very good against Blackbeard's crew and most likely defeat them. I also think they're, pretty well balanced, way more well balanced in the Cross Guild. Yes, you may say, well, what about Mihawk and Crocodile versus the Straw Hat Crew? I feel like the Monster Trio, with Jinbei, maybe a little extra help, should be able to handle Mihawk. Zoro's been fighting him for 2 years. Luffy is, Gear 5'd up. Sanji, everybody should be able to do their part to take down Mihawk. Now, in terms of Crocodile, yes, his bounty's higher than Zoro, but the real question here is he as strong as Zoro or Sanji? I still don't want to give him that chip yet. I still need to see a little bit more from Croc. But even if he is close to Sanji or Zoro's level, getting jumped by a Chopper, a Robin, and a Brook should be enough. After you take out those 2 heavy pieces, everybody else in the crew is pretty much, fodder. They're going to get swept up. And then at number 1, I have Shanks' crew. I just think Shanks' crew is pretty much just a better version of Luffy's crew. They've been, fighting longer, training harder. If we even somewhat take the relativity of Rouge and all the other guys on Shanks' crew and put them up against Beckman, and they're, at least somewhat similar, they should all be stronger than the Straw Hats. Now, maybe the Straw Hats aren't getting swept. It may be a high diff battle. And then if it's fleet versus fleet, well then, it's pretty much goes either way. Whoever got more numbers will take it. So that is my Yonko crew listing. Now, lastly, what Yonko captain is the biggest problem to the world government? Now, when I say biggest problem, obviously right now I do believe it's the Revolutionary Army. I mean, what Sabo's doing, declaring war on the Celestial Dragons, starting battles in Marijois, freeing Kuma, fighting 2 admirals. Obviously, the Revolutionary Army is and has always really been the biggest problem to the Marines, because we know the Marines really only fear their knowledge getting out about their ancient weapons, their secrets, and the techniques that pirates might be able to use against them. I do think the Revolutionary Army is at the top of this list, but since they're not a Yonko crew, I'm not going to really talk about them too much. Just kind of an honorable mention. At the bottom of this list, I do believe that Shanks is the least of a problem to the Marines. Now, a lot of you may say, well, how can you say that? If you think he's the most powerful, if you think his crew is the most balanced, how can he not be the biggest threat to the world government? I feel like if you are casually having conversation with the Gorosei about knowledge and secrets that they don't want to get out, there's obviously something in there, an understanding where y'all are okay with y'all existing. The government is not really worried about Shanks doing too much, because I feel like they don't think Shanks is really plotting on the same things that they're plotting on, i.e. the One Piece, Laugh Tale. Now, when Shanks gets serious, which we see in the manga, now he's ready to go get the One Piece, I think that can easily change. I think the Marines will be like, oh yeah, Shanks is going for the One Piece. He's our number 1 problem because he's already been tapped in with us and he knows what's going on. But as of right now, Shanks always seems like the Marines and him are really just like, cousins on the dad's side that they don't really want to talk to, Comes to Marine Ford, he shuts it down. Nobody really wants any smoke except Kanu. But everybody else is kind of like, yeah, well, that's Shanks. We'll let him do his thing. And I feel like if the attitude is that lackadaisical towards you, you're probably not the biggest thing the Marines are worrying about, at least not right now. At third, I have Blackbeard. Now, I know y'all are seeing Blackbeard kind of at the bottom of these lists a lot, and I'm not trying to underrate him. I'm not trying to say he's not doing his thing, but Blackbeard is still not out here taking over islands. Yes, he popped a couple of devil fruits, but nothing that was really in the Marines' sight. Nothing that would give the Marines real trouble. Now, the only problem the Marines really have with Blackbeard is if he starts, accumulating a bunch of devil fruits and then starts being a problem. But in terms of being a pirate, they're kind of like Blackbeard do his thing. Especially now that we see there was some type of history and relationship with Kobe and Blackbeard, to the point where he kidnapped Kobe instead of killing him. You can argue that Blackbeard isn't even that pressed about the Marines as he is about the pirates. But as of right now, I don't think he's the biggest problem. And I don't think they're going to stop everything they're doing with the Revolutionary Army to go for Blackbeard. Now, you may say, well, Blackbeard's bounty is higher than Luffy's and Buggy's, everybody. But I think that's just because of the devil fruit power that he has, and they're afraid of him getting more and then eventually becoming that problem. Now, at number 2, I have Luffy. I only have Luffy higher than Blackbeard solely because of Gear 5 and the Sun Nika Devil Fruit. Obviously, that was one of the biggest plot twists we've seen in One Piece, a secret that the government was hoping would never get out, that the Sun God Nika, a liberator in the old 100-year void, who has pretty much been reawakened. This goes to show that now there are more crazy-ass secrets, especially in the Devil Fruit world, the ancient weapon category, that could easily be uncovered now. They have Luffy's face on the wanted poster as Gear 5. And we know that when it comes to the history of the Marines, the Gorosei, Im, it all kind of circles back to Luffy's fruit being awakened, this character, Sun God Nika. I feel like because of that and what they're afraid of Luffy evolving into even more as he gets stronger, the Marines have Luffy almost right up there with the Revolutionary Army, especially since he took down Kaido and freed Wano up to be kind of a liberal place where they can do their own thing again and not have to worry about pirates or Marines ruling over them. And at number 1, I do have Buggy as the biggest threat to the Marines right now, and that is kind of just solely because of the Cross Guild. There has never been in the history of One Piece a time where pirates were placing bounties on the Marines. Now those who are being hunted, those who are the law, are on the other side of oppression. The script is flipped. It means captains, vice admirals, admirals are all up for grabs. You got big name pirates, big name criminals putting heavy dollars on these Marine forces trying to get them taken out. And as we've seen, the Marines have kind of been down bad lately. Like their heavy hitters are getting kind of ran through, running away. If you got real strong pirates coming out the woodworks, taking out Marines actively, their whole system could crumble. Their whole rule in different parts of the world, even outside of the Grand Line, could just start to fall apart without even their secrets being revealed. The Cross Guild really does build an avenue for the Marines to just get toppled. So yes, those are my rankings of the Yonko's captain strengths, their crew strengths, and who is the biggest problem to the Marine. Y'all stay tuned. We're going to have some more One Piece debates. Going to pull up on my boy Shona Showdown. And yeah, I appreciate y'all tuning in to another Sunday. See y'all next time.